So I don't think you can talk about this stuff too much. We've just put the snaffle on, and this is a new saddle on this horse, and it is much better for Luna because it's 16 and a half instead of much bigger than that. And April hadn't seen the saddle on the horse because she was running her shop. So now she's having a look at how the saddle fits the horse. Luna and I talked earlier today because a lot of times a 16 and a half inch saddle, seat on a saddle, those saddles lots of times are pretty narrow, and this horse is anything but narrow. And so to have a saddle that fits a horse that's pretty big in the, well, she's just big, period. Have that. Go ahead, Luna. Are you guys okay?
Oh, yeah, I'm good.
Okay. So to have a saddle with a 16 and a half inch seat that's wide enough to fit a 17, she's probably close to 17 too. When you have a saddle that'll accommodate both the horse and the rider, then the rider has the opportunity to have a much better posture. Always before, because Luna's not more than about 5'3". And this is important. I'm going to keep videoing this because people need to see this kind of thing. We're people just like everybody else. And nothing goes perfect around here. And we really get excited when things work well. We really get excited. And so if something gets derailed, we just deal with it. We don't have to have a hissy fit. And we sure don't need to hide it. This mare's had a couple of days off, I think, maybe 3, I'm not sure. 2 or 3 days off. And she's a little fresh, and we haven't done any sort of active ground school. So she's a little fresh, but she's solid in her mind, and I want to use that freshness under saddle. I don't want to waste it, so she needs a little more patience. I haven't said this for a while, but it used to take Luna and April and I have stood by the mounting block for an hour and a half. It took an hour and a half to get the bridle on. Then it would take an hour and a half to get the girth so that it could be done up. And I mean loosely, like in terms that you cannot begin to imagine. And then it took another hour and a half to get the horse comfortable to get on a mounting block. Now that didn't happen over one session. I probably took 2 weeks of fiddling around with bridle for her to be comfortable getting a bridle on. But then the thing was, this mare was being in training, and she had side reins on, and something happened and she flipped over backwards with the bridle and side reins and saddle on. So you can, what? What do you mean, frontwards?
Going forward and frontwards.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
Okay. I stand corrected. She fell on her front legs and went forward. Did she have a rotational fall? A complete rotational fall? Okay. That's a new thing to me. I didn't understand that. So if you have a horse that has a rotational fall with the bridle on and side reins, you can imagine how bruised her mouth would have been. So to have the ability to understand her fear. See how her neck is coming? Now that's different. That's much improved from starting in the snaffle. Much improved because she's relaxing and stretching her top line into the rider's hands. And the rider doesn't have to diddle fiddle, half halt, all of that. The horse is coming into the rider's hands, and the rider's hands are following the horse's nod. So she has a clear disassociated diagonal sequence of legs. So anyway, but taking 2 weeks literally of an hour and a half every day to get the horse to be willing to accept a bit in her mouth was a big deal, because her mouth was clamped shut. And I'm pretty good about getting a bridle on a horse, but it was tough. And the top of her head was pretty sensitive too. So all this stuff you see of this mare allowing us to touch her, and she's got her head down, and she's really enjoying that, and she's taking part in it, that's a really big deal. You cannot imagine the work and the trust and the relationship. And it's different than if you put a chain in the horse's mouth and say, you're going to put your head down. It's just black and white. I'm going to shut off now.